I thought I would come on and do a live because this weekend I have been studying with Diane Paul Heller's team about the attachment system. The course I've been doing is called DARE. It's Dynamic Attachment Repatterning Experience, which is a lot of words, but it's if you've been following me for a while, you'll know I'm really geeky about attachment, and I'm trying to understand it better and learn about it better. Of course, it's central to work with couples, but also work with individuals. I've loved it since I was studying with Jan and discovered about myself, and I think probably one of the reasons that I really love it, or why I'm really fascinated by studying it, is that when I first came across it, I didn't know which I was. So if you don't know it, I've got a couple of blogs on my website, Real, relating about it. I've got an introduction to attachment. I've also got a post about sex and attachment. I'll be writing more based on these trainings. But essentially, a lot of people talk about being one of four types: avoidant attachment, anxious attachment, secure attachment, and disorganized attachment. And that didn't really work for me because I thought I was anxious. I could see how I was anxious in my relationships, particularly my romantic relationships. But I also could see how I was avoidant, mainly in my relationships with friends or with family members. And so it didn't make a lot of sense to me. What I love about Diane Paul Heller's work is that we talk a lot more in that about the strategies that we're using, rather than, just defining someone as one style, and how those strategies change according to the relationships we're in, how they're very context specific, and how we can change. That's the thing I think that's really beautiful, is that sometimes, and it makes me sad when I hear people say, oh, how can I become secure? I'm so avoidant, or I'm so anxious. And we can change. And also, we're not one thing. And one of the things that came up for me this weekend really clearly is we've all got some secure. Most of us have got some secure. I mean, for sure, if you had the Romanian orphanage children, for example, they had a terrible time in their early years. They probably don't have a lot of secure. But for many of us, we've got quite a lot of secure. And then we've probably got one of the two that we go to. Or maybe you're like me, where you go to the two different ones. And what I didn't understand, or what I'm coming to understand, is I thought that if I was both of the two combined, what some of the books said is that that's disorganized. But it didn't ring true with me, because they talk about disorganized attachment often being correlated with a very fearful childhood with very mixed messages. That was not my experience at all. So what I've come to realize is it's just that I sometimes go to an avoidance strategy in particular kinds of relationships, and sometimes I'm very anxious. And I had an adult attachment rupture, which has made me very anxious in romantic relationships, understandably. The other thing I really thought was really helpful was that we've all got a bit of disorganised. Like, the disorganised is a way of our attachment system getting activated where we are both. And it makes so much sense. The word disorganised makes more sense to me now. If you think about it, we all have a natural instinct to bond, to connect. We're tribe animals, we're pack animals. We need each other, so we have this urge to connect. We also have an instinct to run away when we're about to be hurt, when we're threatened. So we know when we're in danger and we run. And if our love object, the person we're connecting with, feels dangerous, and they are the person we connect to, then of course it's like we put the gas on the brakes, the foot on the brakes and on the accelerator at the same time. We want to run towards them and we want to run away, and it's disorganized, it's confusing. We are disorganized, and I know that I'm definitely disorganized when I am under threat in a relationship, and I think most of us most likely are. Or perhaps we're very, very used to using the avoidance strategy of closing our attachment system down, in which case we may go into a parasympathetic nervous system and we shut everything down, and we're not confused because we've actually just disappeared, and that's very common. Or we're very much in the anxious patterning of crying for help, of distress, of trying to get our need met through anxiety, and we're just very clear that that's in our unconscious. I say clear when it's not clear because it's not cognitive. It's, you know, it's a very unconscious patterning, and we are pumping up more and more and more anxiety to get our need met, because that's what we think is going to work. That's what's going to be the most safety making for us in that moment. But of course, it often doesn't work because it's difficult for the other person who's on the receiving end of those, you know, more and more texts, or more and more anger, or more and more distress. So I'm going to keep talking about Dare. I love it. I think it's really powerful. I love Diane's book, The Power of Attachment. So keep tuned. Tell your friends about me if they're interested in attachment. It really is an area I'm super focused on. So I hope that was useful. I'd love to hear your comments. Have a great day. Bye.